Welcome to Same Team, Different Jerseys. We are back again. I got Hannah and Sonia with me. Do you go ahead and say hi, guys?
Hey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, Hannah's trying to get organized right now because I just hit record and I didn't give her any warning. But
Not at all.
before we get this started, I want to let everybody know that the biggest problem that we're having, Hannah and me, we're going to do this for. We were talking about this for like 6 months before we started this podcast.
Oh, let's not be modest here. It was a year.
I
I
was gonna
talked
Yeah.
say
about
it's
this
it was a
last year,
lot
October.
longer.
Okay. And it got shoved into overdrive in September, I think it was, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, when he got murdered. And the reason it hit us so hard is because he was literally just trying to talk about issues that everybody talk about and we should talk about. And you should not be murdered for just having a difference of opinion. And unfortunately, in America right now, it's really bad. We have a TikTok, and the TikTok has a lot of angry people on it, saying their personal opinion and saying insults to us because they don't like what we say. I don't like what other people's opinions are sometimes, but I'm never going to insult you, and neither will any of us. And that's the point of this podcast, is be able to talk about things that are on your brain that maybe don't make sense, maybe are offensive, maybe just are shit ideas, but you're still thinking of them. And we want the interaction. We want people to talk about it, but it's more for cordial dialogue and debate. And that is what we started this for. With that said, today's podcast is going to be very controversial and it's going to bring out a lot of people. So it'll be up on Monday, and TikTok will be the shorts on TikToks will be up fairly quickly to
Tomorrow.
prepare you for tomorrow for the long form on Monday. I am pro-life. I am pro-life under any circumstances. Hannah, I'm pretty sure, is pro-choice, and my wife, who I am married to, we disagree on this subject, and we can still be married. She is pro-choice. So I got two pro-choice people, and I am pro-life.
I will say, if there was anybody, I think anybody on this planet who could convince me to be pro-life, it would probably be you. Like, I've had long conversations, specifically with my mother after the first time we did this episode, and it failed horrifically. About how if there was anybody on this planet that could convince me to be pro-life based off of like everything except religion, because you don't bring religion into it a whole lot, like at all.
No, I do not.
Like it's a very, very small amount, kind of. And I'm like, if there's somebody that's going to convince anybody who's pro-choice to be pro-life, it's probably going to be Damian, because the way you talk about it, the way you go about it, and your thoughts and views on it are very compelling. So,
Well, thank you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that about you, but I'm still pro-choice.
Yes, I think the biggest problem with pro-lifers, and I'll hate on my own group here right now, we're assholes for the most part because they use religion and their opinion to browbeat you and tell you how evil you are. And I never look at somebody who's pro-choice as evil. Even some of the people I listen to, that think pro-choice people are evil. You're not evil. We have a difference of an opinion, and I will use everything in my arsenal to try to bring you to my side, but you are never evil. And I think my pro-life people, especially the Bible beaters, I hate it when religion is brought into you don't need religion to convince people pro-life. If you use religion, you are intellectually stunted, because there are so many good arguments for pro-life, and you don't need to use one for religion. Okay, God says don't do it. There we go. There's the religion part of it. Like that's okay. If you don't believe in God, your argument falls flat.
You know what's very interesting about people who bring in God when they decide that's how they're going to convince people to be pro-life is so actually I did a little bit of research on this, right? I've taken two Christian based um, college courses because I went to GCU, which is one of the requirements. And so I heard an individual speak on, and Nook is going to take the show. I
He's got
heard
the
a couple of,
zoomies.
yeah, he does. He's going crazy. I heard a couple of people talk about this, and a guy mentions when the angel came to, I forget the freaking lady's name, but when he came to impregnate, was it Mary?
The
Yeah.
Virgin Mary?
Yeah, when he came to impregnate her, he gave her the option to be impregnated, knowing that she would be carrying the Son of God. He gave her an option to get out of it, to not carry him. And I think that's something that holds really, really tight to me when people want to argue and use the religion fact of like, oh, you shouldn't be pro-choice because God this and God that and God this and God that. Okay, well, yeah, that's great and all, but God's angel gave Mary the choice to carry Jesus or not because she still has free will. She can still say no. They didn't just show up and be like, you're pregnant. You're carrying God's son.
Yeah.
They gave her the
Okay.
option.
Okay, girls. Under any circumstances, I don't believe in abortion. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Rape, molestation,
Incest.
incest.
Okay.
Y'all must be from the South.
Neither one of us are from Alabama.
Because I live in the South and I didn't even think of incest was not the first thought to my mind.
Well, it's incest, rape, and life of the mother seems to be the biggest arguments for pro-choice. And I can dismantle pretty much all of them. So first of all, this was a debate. When I talk about abortion, what do you consider an abortion? What's your, not the Google or website, what's your definition of abortion?
Definition, my personal definition of abortion would be the termination of a viable fetus.
Okay. Sonia?
Yeah, I would say pretty much the same thing. It's just the extinction of a bundle of cells in your body.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to go after that one. Okay.
You're going to go after the fact that she said bundle
of cells. You're a bundle of cells.
Right.
Like we're all bundles of cells.
But I'm talking, I'm breathing, I'm functioning, I work, and again, like you and I have this conversation, I feel like at least once a month. So I've learned to not get mad.
Okay.
Well,
so according to science, a zygote, the minute the sperm hits the egg, according to science, it is considered alive. And just because it's so, would you?
That's like saying your sperm is alive. Like,
no. Your sperm cannot become anything else. Part of the argument for, I'd have to look it up to get all of the, but for a scientist to say something is alive, it has to meet certain criterias. And it's like a list of 12. A zygote meets every single one of them. A sperm misses like 9 of the 12. It has to have its own DNA, which the minute the sperm hits the egg, it has its own DNA. It has to be able to develop into a living. A zygote does. There's I'll have to look it up when you guys are talking real quick. But it is. Let's see if I can find it.
Okay, so my argument has always been that it is a parasite until it can live outside of my body without me. And that's at like 22, 23 weeks.
And
Once it hits, That
You and I have never ever talked about abortion, so the
We've
fact that
not.
you're like, the fact that you were like, it's a parasite, I'm like, oh, that's rough.
Well, because it's living off of my body. It's taking calcium, it's taking blood, it's literally taking every single thing that my body has to offer and is living off of that. So my argument has and will always be, yes, I'm pro-life, but to an extent. Anything after, if it's going to live outside of my body in an incubator, in whatever, as soon as it hits that point at 22 weeks, so you're halfway-ish, right, through your pregnancy, because it's
Yeah,
40
it's about 20
weeks.
weeks. They say that at 20 weeks, a fetus, right, or your embryo, whatever you want to call it, should be, I don't want to, let me get the verbiage right. So at 20 weeks, your fetus should be fully developed, right? At 20
Right.
weeks, they should be able to come and tell you like, oh, hey, your baby's going to be born with half a brain, right? Or your baby doesn't have a second kidney or whatever. At 20 weeks, they're fully developed. So if at 20 weeks you took it away from the womb and you put it in an incubator, it could technically survive at 20 weeks if it was going to survive, right? Obviously, we know if a baby is gonna have half a brain, it's
It's not going to
most
survive.
likely, science has not advanced that far yet. It's going to die if you give birth to it, right? If it's born with a half a heart, science has not advanced far enough that we can survive with a half a heart, so it's going
Right.
to die, which should all be determined at 20 weeks.
And I know that the word parasite is a very strong word. I am aware of that. Like, I know that it's going to give a very, like, guttural reaction for some people. But if it absolutely needs me to live, then essentially that's what it is. Because,
But
I
a
mean, it
parasite
sounds
wants you to die. A parasite,
not
it's
necessarily.
all parasites eventually kill you.
Yeah, eventually. But like a tapeworm can live in you for years without you even knowing.
But it will eventually take all your nutrients and kill
Okay,
you.
but a baby is only in your womb for 40 weeks. A parasite can live in you for years
Right.
before
It
you
doesn't grow
even
to be
have a detection.
right, but a parasite doesn't grow into 50 pounds. Because if that parasite was 50 pounds, it would kill you too with the weight. But so I did look up so there's 7, not 12. So for
We're way off.
your sperm is cell. Is made of cells, number 1. So, yep, a zygote's made of cells, grows and develops. That's the big one that knocks away a lot of the arguments of what life is according to science. If it doesn't grow and develop, it's not a according to biology. Maintains homeostasis, has a metabolism, responds to stimuli, and they have found out that even a zygote, even that if they poke it with a needle or with a surgical thing, the cell itself will jerk away. So it responds to stimuli. It can eventually reproduce, but so does parasites, but it can reproduce and undergoes evolution. The undergoes evolution, that's a whole scientific thing. I guess, but a zygote hits every one of those criteria according to science. Therefore, at conception, it is alive.
So is a parasite.
See, I have a hard time saying that at conception something is alive because, like, bro, people can't even tell you, like, when they were concepted, right? Like,
Conceived.
yeah, conceived, whatever the fuck the word is, okay? It's been a long day. Um,
It doesn't matter that
but
you don't
so
know. The fact
that's what I
is,
have.
it is.
Right, but that's what I have a huge issue with, right? Is that like a woman can go out and fuck 5 guys in one night, get pregnant from one of those fucking 5, and could have fucked 5 guys the next night. When does she know she got pregnant? So when does she know that she had conceived a child?
It,
Right? So
it, it,
I have an issue with the accepting that it is a life from conception, right?
So when
That
would you
I don't agree with that. Like,
so the biggest argument is then a weekend, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Like we
when does a woman averagely know that she's pregnant?
what this has nothing. The baby is a completely different organism than the woman. The woman has no bearing on the fact that whether or not it's alive. Just she may know at 4 months. It didn't mean it wasn't
But see,
alive at 1 month.
but see, then I could agree with Sonia's saying of it's a parasite up until a certain amount of weeks, because if you take that embryo out of a womb at 2 weeks and you stick it on the table, guess what it's going to do?
And
It's going to die. It's going to die.
That's only because science can't do it yet. Science 30, 40 years ago, a baby at 21 weeks would not have made it.
Okay, but I have always told you that if science literally looked at me tomorrow and said, hey, at 2 weeks pregnant, we can take that fertilized embryo and we can cook it for the rest of the whatever, great. Take it out of me.
Okay, so
I like it. Cook
it. Okay, so at 2 weeks you say it's alive. Then you're only saying it's alive because we don't have the technology yet.
Okay, so here's a mind-boggling thing. My definition of or my okayness with when you can abort it is literally science related. If in 3 years they tell me, hey, we're now at 15 weeks, okay, cool. Anything before 15 weeks, abort it. But if you can take it out of me at 15 weeks and cook it for the duration of time, and it's going to survive, and that dad wants custody of that baby, great.
Yeah, actually, I think if science was to evolve to that, you'd probably have a lot less abortions, right? Now, this all goes into the fact that, like, I think one of the, like, my stances on abortion are a lot because, one, if we across the United States say that everything is pro-choice and every state determines their time frame of when you're allowed to have an abortion or not have an abortion, not everybody is going to be happy. If pro-life sweeps the nation and every state is a pro-life state, not everybody is going to be happy. Probably not even a majority if you go pro-life across the United States. I wouldn't even go out on a limb and say that majority of the United States would be happy. So that's why I still I think abortion should be your last result, right? I think you should look at all the avenues, right? You should look at adoption, right? Whether you do a private or a open or whatever. I think you should look at all your avenues and try to exhaust all those avenues before getting an abortion. But if a young woman or even a teen, right, which granted they don't have bodily autonomy, so it's up to their parents, but if their parents are like, this is what we're doing, or this young woman, that's what she wants to do, and she's exhausted all of her other options and nothing has panned out, then fine, get an abortion if that's what you want to do.
So you believe that you have the right to kill another living thing just because you don't want it?
People do it all the time. Hunting.
No,
it's not
legally.
It's not another living thing until it's surviving outside of that womb.
Okay, hold on though, because
up until it can survive outside of that womb, it's not a living thing. And
but according to science,
hold on, everybody, just chill out. Let's just go with Damian's argument for a second that it's alive. Okay. People go hunting all the time. Those things are alive. We take those lives all the time. And they're not functioning people of society. It's the same thing.
No, human life is more important than animals.
It's not a human life. It's just this thing that's surviving off of my body.
Not according to science.
So do you believe in evolution?
Yes and no. We'll get into a completely different podcast.
No. If you believe in science, then you should be telling me that you believe in evolution and there's no such thing as God.
No, because not all scientists believe in evolution.
I'm just saying, if you believe in science,
a lot of scientists don't believe in evolution. Science is
and
not.
I think that's a complete oxymoron. Because science can prove that God didn't invent the Earth.
And science can prove that evolution does not exist.
How so?
Because it's never happened.
How has nothing ever evolved?
We've been on this Earth for how long? 100,000 years?
And we came from cavemen.
But we still look the same.
No.
But we've evolved.
We've evolved mentally. We've just gotten we've learned things. That's not evolving. Evolving is I need an 11th finger. That's an evolution.
I think so.
Fish
I think evolution is different than that, right? Like evolution for me, if my parents were stupid with electronics, and then when I was born, I was very smart with electronics. That's evolution. Because
that's a
electronics
stretch.
Because electronics right now are controlling our fucking world, right?
My
kids know more about fucking electronics. Half the time when it comes to my kids' phones, I'm like, hey, I need you to do this, 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 and this, and then show it to me. And they do it because they're fucking smarter with it. In a way, that's evolution. Evolution is not, oh, the fucking ground is super wet, so now my babies are gonna have webbed fucking toes. Like that's not a thing. Now,
I think what you're talking about is two different. Hold on, I think what you guys are talking about is two different kind of evolutions. There's a mental evolution. There's a mental evolution, and then there's a physical evolution. And Damian, you can't. We physically evolved from cavemen. There's literal bodily structures, bone structures that have changed.
No,
so that is evolution.
The same. We are basically the same as we always have been.
No, we're not. If you look at a caveman's skeletal structure, it looks not super, super, super different, but it looks different than what we look like today.
Right. And they're saying that it was a completely different structure. I mean, if you want, not to, they can sometimes tell the difference between an African-American skeletal structure from a Caucasian structure. They have different, not a lot, but they have different facial features. They have different skeletal structure. That doesn't mean it's evolution. What?
But they're still a human being.
Right, they're still human beings.
So human beings, from the start of humans walking this earth, we have evolved. We have changed. Even if it's just a slight, small, their femurs got shorter. They still got shorter. For whatever fucking reason that we will probably never know, right? Their femurs still got shorter, if that's the case. Or maybe their femurs got longer. Who fucking knows? But if you look at human beings as a race from the beginning of time till now, they have evolved. It might be slight, but they've evolved.
Okay.
Physically.
We are way off subject.
No, we're not.
So my case here is that if you believe in science, then you have to believe in science.
No, because science is not a guaranteed law. Science is always evolving. That's the whole point. Any scientist that is stuck in one thing is a bad scientist. Any scientist will tell you that science it needs to be challenged all the time. Even if it's the sky is blue, it needs to be challenged all the time. There is just saying something is science doesn't mean that's the law. That's 2+. This is not math. Science is changing all the time. Science thought the fucking world was flat at one point in time. Science thought that there's no way that man can break the sound barrier. Science said that science has said a lot of things that has been proven wrong many times over. So just saying, well, it's the science doesn't mean that, well, it's, in stone that's a fact.
You're stressing me out because I feel like you just completely contradicted what you literally just said the breath before.
What do you mean?
Yeah, the second he got into it, I was like, you slightly just contradicted yourself a little bit there.
What do you
Anyway, so science is ever evolving. Okay, so what if science comes back later, years from now, with all this new technology that we're going to have, right? We're going to have flying cars eventually or some shit. So what if science comes back later and they go, hey, everything we thought about fetuses is completely fucking wrong because science is ever changing?
Okay, then I don't mind changing my mind. I'm
Okay,
going
so
with
just like with us, we might be I'm pro-choice and Sonya's pro-choice, and I'm stuck at 20 weeks because that's when your baby is fully developed.
but the
So I
science right
believe, but
now
I
says
believe,
it's not.
but I believe up to, if you want to get an abortion, if you're at 20 weeks, I don't care if you just turned 20 weeks today, you shouldn't be allowed to because now your fetus is fully developed. It could survive. It could survive as long as it's a healthy fetus and it's got all of its stuff, it's got all of its organs, it's got a full freaking brain. Yes, it's going to need help on the outside because obviously at 20 weeks that baby can't fucking make its own food or do anything. So obviously it's going to need help to be taken care of to survive and become eventually an adult or whatever. Now, if science came back and they said, hey, 18 weeks, even if your baby is not fully developed, because we know it's not going to be fully developed, 18 weeks, we can take it out of your womb and we can hook it up to all these fancy machines that Elon Musk is probably going to invent because he's a genius. Okay. We can hook it up to all these fancy machines and all these tubes and make it look like, freaking Whistler from Blade 2. And he's got all these tubes sticking out of him and they're giving him artificial blood and shit. Cool. But how much pain is that going to cause it? So then we go into the factor of pain, because that's what a lot of people seem to come to when it comes to abortions is the pain factor.
What do you mean the pain
It
factor?
feels it. It feels it. The fetus feels it. They feel when they're getting aborted. How do we not know that they're traumatized? Well, sadly, it doesn't matter if they're traumatized or not because they're not alive. So what happens if we come up with all this technology that's awesome and great and they go, oh yeah, because we have to stick all these tubes up it and we have to feed it artificial stuff so that it can continue to grow and do whatever. Yeah, the first like introduction into its life, it's going to be absolutely traumatic and miserable. Do we still want to
So
do that?
so because something is traumatic and miserable, it doesn't deserve to live?
You tell me.
Yes. It deserves it deserves a choice because it is a human being.
You can't give it that choice because it doesn't have the ability to make choice.
Okay. People that get into a car accident and they're comatose or they got head trauma and they're out for an extended amount of time. We make the choice for them all the time. So just let them die because
Yeah, if that's what it says. If that's what their medical power of attorney says, then yeah, make the choice for them.
no, not
Yeah.
medical power of attorney, not medical power of attorney. Because they are going to be in pain, we're going to let them die. That's basically what you're saying because the baby can't have a medical power of attorney. It relies on the mother of the female that decided not to take responsibility for her consequences in the first place. And now we're going to punish the kid because the woman decided, you know what? Yeah, I was stupid, so I'm going to have an abortion.
How are you punishing it? It wouldn't know any different. It wouldn't know anything different unless you kept it years down the road and you had a conversation going, you know what? I was going to get rid of you.
Just because somebody doesn't know what's going on doesn't give you the right to kill them. So motorcycle accident victims that got head trauma and now out for 2 weeks, just let them fucking die?
If that's what they have, yeah.
Not if they had. Is it right to let
I
them
don't
die?
think that's the same thing. I don't think that's the same thing at all.
How is
Yeah,
it? It's
those are,
if a life
Okay.
is a life, either it is a human life or it is not. And this is
because that person that was in that motorcycle accident made the choices already. They made those choices.
Yeah.
So did the woman. The woman made the choices to fuck.
But that clump of cells, that fetus and embryo, or whatever you want to call it, that's inside that womb, can't make any choices.
Right.
They can't knock on the womb and be like, Mommy, I want to live.
So somebody has to make the choice for them.
Yeah, and if that mother makes the choice that, guess what? Sorry. Then it is what it is. I will never believe, that something that is inside a woman that cannot make any choices at all should be given the right to make a choice. It doesn't have any legal bounds. It doesn't have any leg to stand. It ain't even fucking got legs yet for one, okay? But it doesn't have any legal ground to stand on.
So you don't think?
How many videos of kids have we seen nowadays that are like, I was never asked if I wanted to be born? Well, you know what, dude? If your mom could probably go back in time and fucking abort you, she probably would, just because of that sentence right fucking there.
So you don't believe in the right to life? That humans have the right to?
I think everybody has the right to live, but I also think that mothers should be allowed to make the fucking choice for what's growing inside them.
So why aren't they allowed to make the choice at 2 days?
Because they don't fucking know they're pregnant at 2 days.
No, 2 days after the baby's born.
Nah, okay, I don't agree with that. At that point, you've brought it into this world. I don't. No, that's too far. That's too far.
It is still, it's still sucking nutrients out of you. It's still
right, but
doing
now it's
everything.
Now it's an actual living human being.
And that is the argument that pro-life and pro-choice people have all the time. When I argue for the pro-choice side, or
before it's born, it's not a living being. That's in my opinion, it's not a living being.
Exactly. And that is the biggest hurdle that this is why I think the way we have it now is the best way to do it. Just let every state decide. I may disagree with it. If I don't like that state, I'll fucking move. Because whenever I argue with somebody about abortion, about the pro-life, pro-choice side, I ask them very first, right up front, do you believe it's a human being? Because if they say it's not, well, then it's a fucking kidney. It's anything. You could just take it out and just squish it. No big deal. But that's why it's so important to determine when life begins. And when it comes to most people that are pro-life, that especially the ones that try to use a religion argument, your basic argument is saying that at conception, you believe it's a life, and nobody has a right to kill a life just because it's inconvenient. Whether or not it's a zygote or an 18-year-old adult, just because it's called a zygote, and I hear that a lot. It's like, it's just a zygote. A zygote is just a term for part in the development of human life. Much like saying an infant, a child, a toddler, a teenager, a preteen. It's just a name that is given for that part of the development, but it's still a human. So if you don't believe it's a life, which I very much do, then the argument that it's easy to kill something that you don't think is a real thing. I mean, it's a bug. It's nothing then.
If you were to take it out of that womb right then and there, it wouldn't survive.
It wouldn't survive after it's born if you just let it lay there. After the baby is born, if you just walk away.
It'd survive a little bit longer than it did if you took it out at 2 days.
Not necessarily.
It can still breathe. As long as it can breathe, it can still live. It may not live past a day or two, but I think there's a big difference. Like I've been through so like in Las Vegas, right? They have the Luxor that has like the human body exhibit, right? I've been through there and I've seen where they've had fetuses that are in the different weeks, right? Yeah, and I've seen it. And guess what? It doesn't faze me until it actually starts to look like a human being. Like when you can see its fingers and you can see that it's like developing right around 20 weeks. And I'm like, it's a human being. That looks like a human being. Everything before that, you could tell me it's a deer and I'd be like, yeah, that's probably a deer. You could tell me it's a fucking dolphin and I'd probably be like, I'd fucking believe you. That's probably a dolphin. Like, bro, it's like the guys it's like the people who are pro-choice and they show these pro-lifers these embryos at different weeks. And they're like, oh, so you believe that this is a life? And they're like, oh, yeah. And they're like, you're a fucking idiot. That's a dolphin embryo, you dumbass. It's not a life yet. It's not a human being. That's why mine is 20 weeks. 20 weeks, it looks like it's going to be a person. You can tell that it's going to be a person. It's going to be a human being because it's got everything it needs. It's got 10 toes and 10 fingers. It's got legs and arms. It's a human being.
Okay,
anything before 20 weeks?
Okay, then why?
Eh,
Okay, then why
eh.
would you be on board where if science could make a 2-week embryo live in some special
Uh,
incubator that way, then why do you believe that? If
I'll be
it's
honest, I don't think we'll ever be there.
okay,
But
that I'm talking hypotheticals. So if we actually get there, so in in your opinion, if we get there, for you, it doesn't matter if we get there. We could still kill it because it doesn't look
I
like a
think if we
human.
get there, then it should be a viable option. If
Why though?
the mother can be like, you know what? I really don't want this baby. I don't want to have to do anything with it. I don't want to have to carry it. I don't want to have to go through the body trauma and the changes. But if daddy wants it, I'll sign my rights away right now and y'all can take it out of me and put it in this freaking little whatever to fully develop it. Cool. I think that'd be awesome. I think we'd have a lot less abortions.
Okay, Sonia, jump in because
Okay. So
you're not being. You're
no, I
not-
know. So I just looked up. So my point of view just minutely changed. So there's the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, right? We all know this, yeah. So the first 13 weeks is the first trimester. So my curiosity was, at what point in the pregnancy can doctors actually go in and do like a corrective surgery for a baby that, has a heart murmur or their insides are born inside out or whatever?
right.
At what point can that surgery happen and like be accomplished without complications to mom or baby? Excuse me. So this is saying anywhere from fetal surgery for certain conditions can be done as early as the second trimester or later, between 16 and 26 weeks, depending on the specific condition. Excuse me. Surgery in the first trimester is generally avoided if possible due to the risks associated with anesthesia during organ formation, and the third trimester carries higher risks of preterm labor. Okay. Completely makes sense. The closer you are, obviously, to your due date, the higher the preterm labor goes.
Mhm.
So to me, Hannah's 20 weeks makes sense to me because anything within a couple of weeks, obviously, but anything within those first 13 to 14 weeks, you run the risk of your body miscarrying. You run the risk of that anesthesia not being able to allow the baby to form properly. So, okay, if my baby's insides are born outside, yeah, that sucks, but I now have to wait until that second trimester. Okay, well, if I don't want it,
So just because there's going to be a problem, it
yeah, I believe that so there are certain conditions that I genuinely believe you don't recover from. And if your insurance is willing to cover every surgery under the sun, great. I'm so happy for you. If you want to do every single surgery known to mankind to save that baby and you're dying to have a baby and that's that. Great, awesome, fantastic. I'm happy for you. But what's the difference between us choosing to abort versus, we're going to go back to animals for a second. There are mammals in the wild that can abort. It's technically a miscarriage, but can naturally abort their babies if they feel like they're not in a safe situation, if they feel like they're in a situation that they can't provide for their babies, food shortage, whatever, things like that.
we can't use animals as an example because
Why?
some animals eat their newborns, like viable newborns. They just eat them. The fucking what's it? That one animal that when it's scared in Australia, um,
Okay,
it's
so first of
related
all,
that fucking shoots
first
it
of
out of
all,
the pouch when it's
no,
scared.
no, it doesn't. First of all, it's called a quokka, and they're the cutest fucking thing ever. Second of all, it actually
They kill
doesn't
their
chuck the
babies.
baby. No, stop. They don't actually chuck the baby. They literally just set it down and walk away because they can have more later on in life. But you're talking about, okay, so kangaroos can hold their gestational pregnancies. They can stop gestation until they're in a physically better situation. So
Right,
what's the
but
difference between
the
that
whole
and us
point.
just
the whole point is you can't use animals as an example because
Right.
animals do a whole bunch of shit that
We are animals.
we are humans. Yes, we are animals technically, but I'm sorry, you can't. That's the
It sounds to me like you're picking and choosing what science you want to use, sir.
no, because some animals eat their young. The quokka fucking leaves the baby on the ground and then walks away and lets the animal attack it. Like, if you want to go animal, this was the whole argument that the gay community had on our last podcast about how, well, there are some animals that, are gay and that's okay. Well, some animals, rape other animals too, or rape their own species. It doesn't mean it's okay. We are, once again, your evolution argument, we're evolved better than animals. The animal argument does not work on any level.
Okay.
This, gay,
Great.
nothing.
Awesome. Fantastic. We're evolved. So if I'm a mom, I go out, have sex, and I'm not in a position to raise another child. I already have one. I went out, fucked up. It's my decision to, instead of have my body go through the whole thing all over again, done. I don't want to raise it.
So why in the world are women the only ones that don't have to have consequences?
You do. The abortion is the consequence. Abortions aren't comfortable.
It's
not like...
If you think that a woman does not get consequences after having an abortion, you have not talked to women who have had abortions. I know women my age and slightly older that have had abortions, and they're still fucking traumatized to it today. Now, granted, given their circumstances, if they were in that position again, they say, yeah, I would probably choose the same decision because of the position that I was in.
Okay, then that's not a consequence.
There's still, oh yeah, there is. There is. It's almost like a form of PTSD. It's not the greatest feeling ever. It's the same thing with like miscarriages, which technically by definition, a miscarriage is an abortion by definition. So even miscarriages, right? Women still have, and a miscarriage, they have no fucking control over, absolutely none. And they still get mentally traumatized from it.
Yes, but that is the body. That is the body saying something's wrong. We got to get rid of this.
Right,
but it's not necessarily wrong with the
baby behind it. Doesn't matter your science of the woman. The nature knew the mother could not handle it. Whatever. I'd rather be traumatized from a choice that I made than be traumatized by something that I had no fucking say in it.
You did have a say.
Okay,
when you spread your legs, you had a say.
Whoa.
Okay, that's like telling you to never have sex again.
Pause! Pause! Holy hell, you two. Hello. Hi, still here. Okay. Your body, Damian, this is what I don't like. Most people think that like your body is, well, a woman's body miscarries as a baby because it doesn't, there's something wrong with the fetus. That's not necessarily true. What about the women that can't just physically, their body, their uterus is a hostile environment and can't carry a baby to full term? That's on the mom. That's not on the baby. That's not on the fetus, the potential human. That has nothing to do with them. That's on the mom. So you saying that, well, their bodies just know that something's wrong. Not necessarily.
Yes, the uterus knows that there's something wrong with the uterus, that it can't handle a baby. So it miscarriages. Your body knows. So
what's the difference between that and me physically choosing to get rid of? And there are consequences, because after, up to a week after, my memory serves me correctly, up to a week after, you're cramping, you're emotional, your body still has to get rid of all of those emotions and all of those hormones. That your body naturally develops because it's preparing for a baby, and now you're miserable for up to a week afterwards, sometimes even further.
God, a whole week for a life. And
I'm not saying that, all right, don't be a condescending on this conversation
when he can't even birth children. That's another topic I love, is that why do men get to say what a woman does with her body?
Okay, because you know what? You guys can have an abortion with no consequences. You don't go to jail. You don't get fined. You don't get nothing. Men have absolutely no say in something that is 50% theirs. You know what
Okay.
happens? Hold on. This pisses me off when women sit there and say, we don't have a right. If you girls decide I'm going to have this baby, we are obligated by law.
Oh, wait. What was that thing you said earlier that maybe they should have closed their legs? Maybe you should have put your fucking dick in your waistband and walked the fuck away, huh?
And I hold
Uh,
your
if
your
you
mic is
didn't
cutting out.
want, if
Your mic
you
is
didn't want to have, if you didn't want to have the possibility of having a child that you would have to pay for, then you should have waistbanded your dick and walked the fuck out of the bar.
and I
Huh?
fucking agree with that.
Right. But that's never going to happen, is it? Women are never going to close their legs, and women and men are never just going to be like, nope, I don't want the possibility
Just
of having a kid.
okay, just because somebody doesn't,
So
there's
what
always
the
going to be
fuck?
okay, there's always going to be murderers. Are we just going to make that fucking legal? But there's always going to be somebody that kills somebody. Just make it fucking legal. There's always going to be somebody who robs. Let's just make it fucking legal.
Maybe we should.
It's a
Maybe the law. Maybe we'll have less murder if we legalize it.
It's a moral thing. Morally, it's wrong. Now, I do not let men off the hook on this. I just want everybody to realize this on this podcast because this is going to get heated. At no point in time do I believe men should be let off the hook. If you put your dick in somebody and have a baby, not only am I telling the woman she's got to have that baby, I do not have any respect at all, and those men should go to jail that up and leave. And you should have known that before you had sex. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm putting this all on the woman at no point in time. And I also believe 100% the minute a woman finds out she's pregnant, the minute she finds out she's pregnant, child support starts. This is not child support when the baby is born. Child support starts the minute she comes to him and goes, hey, I found out I'm pregnant. Because that 9 months, it's not fucking free. I have a kid. That 9 months is not free. So you need to step up as a man. And if you don't want to step up as a man, don't whip your dick out.
Okay.
Never gonna happen.
Just because it doesn't.
Everybody, take a deep breath for a second. Woo! Hello. With Damian's shenanigans that he just said, I
What
agree.
shenanigans?
There's just a lot to unpack there.
We have a lot of traumas.
That clearly, I think that if she has to disclose that she's pregnant, right? Like if she goes to the doctor and she's got an STD, right? She has to disclose who her last partner was because it's transmittable. Sorry, STI. So I think we should have to treat it a lot like that. And I think that these women that leave the fathers off of the birth certificate should either get a fine or something, because now you're negating that male from paying for, because it takes two to tango, right? It takes both parties to create a baby.
Yeah.
So if you make it so that the minute she finds out she's pregnant, he now has to pay child support. Maybe name it something else. Maybe like, I don't know.
Pregnancy support.
Yeah, pregnancy support, something ridiculous, something that's not child support. But if she decides, because you hear a lot of guys say, oh, well, whatever you want to do, I'm behind you, right? So if she decides she's going to abort it, okay, great. But if he doesn't want to abort it, he has to pay her. He has to be able to put her on his insurance. If he doesn't have insurance, those medical bills go to him. If he wants that baby after she's done, okay, cool. I will do all of this, but you're going to pay me a decent amount and you're going to pay my medical bills. I definitely
almost like
agree.
A surrogacy.
Right. Exactly. A surrogacy. And I definitely 110% agree with that. But at the same time, maybe more so now, like I don't agree with women using it as a source of birth control at all. If you are going and getting an abortion once a month, right? Because we can only get pregnant once a month. I think that there should be consequences there. We only drop 1 egg a month, Damian.
That's not what I'm looking up.
Oh, okay. Just checking, babe. Just checking. I'm unarmed, guys. I'm unarmed. I think that if she's a repeat offender, I definitely think that there needs to be like a, hey, we're gonna either medically castrate you or we're gonna perform some sort of like tube tie or something, because clearly you have no interest of having kids and you're not responsible enough to make sure that you're on birth control, and he's fucking using a condom. Don't get me wrong, I hate condoms. Personally, I hate condoms. I'm allergic to latex, so I have to use a very, very specific kind. But there has to be some sort of consequences on both ends if that's the case, if the woman is using it as birth control.
See, this could go into women's health care because, like, if a 21-year-old woman walks into her gyno's office and she's like, look, dude, I have zero interest in having fucking babies and I want my stuff gone. Because if you don't intend to have babies, there
Yeah.
is no point to keep having a period, especially if they are atrocious. So at
Yeah.
21, if this girl walks into the doctor's office and she's like, I don't ever want to have the possibility of having kids. I have
Yeah,
zero
doctors
desire
won't.
to be a mom. I have zero desire to give birth. Oh, well, we can tie your tubes. I still have a period. So I'd like everything gone. They are so far against it, because they're convinced that in a few years you're going to change your mind. Well, that's why there's these awesome things called legal binding documents where it states that you can't turn around and sue me in 5 years because you didn't understand that getting a hysterectomy meant you could never have kids again. There's no redo. There's no putting it back. It's game over. No babies.
Okay.
Ever. Like,
So
ugh.
maybe this is a really stupid question as a female, so don't judge. Don't judge. I saw y'all last time. Don't judge. But if your tubes are tied, there's no egg dropping, right?
No,
So,
no,
okay.
that is incorrect. Your tubes are tied, you still have a period.
Right,
And
but
nowadays they don't even.
isn't a period because the egg dropped and your body didn't create a home for this thing to grow in you?
I don't know how that works, but I just know that I know women who have had their tubes tied, which nowadays they cut your tubes out. They
And
don't
then
even tie them or clamp them or whatever. They take
yeah,
them out
yeah.
and they still have periods.
Hmm.
Because I have a cousin, she's much older. She has her tubes tied and she still has a period.
Okay.
Which I was curious about that too. I was like, how does that work? If your tubes are tied or your tubes are gone, where does it go? The egg is still going to fall. Where the fuck does it go? They still end up with a period, but somehow they can't get pregnant. I don't know.
Oh, well,
Oh, because
I'm
it
not a
doesn't affect
scientist
your
wizard.
ovaries or your
it just
hormones.
it just says yes. You have one. A tube ligation is what it's called. A tubal ligation, by the way. But
Litigation.
litigation. It says ligation.
Ligation, yeah. So it's because your ovaries are still putting out those hormones, and so your
Hmm.
hormones are still telling your body, hey, we're not pregnant. Okay.
Yeah.
But
See, we fixed it, guys. We fixed it. Relax. Everyone take a
what?
deep
Right,
breath.
but what's the purpose? Like, so if you don't want kids and they're like, oh, well, we
Right.
can tie your tubes, but you're still gonna have a period. If that woman has atrocious periods, she's gonna be like, that's a lose-lose. Like, sure, I can't get pregnant, awesome, but my periods are
Yeah.
atrocious.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why that's not a thing. If a woman wants to have surgery, I think anybody should be able to have surgery. Once you're over 18, if you want to have your legs cut off, th- aren't you going to want to walk one day? No, I want bionic legs. You should be able, if you have the money, fucking go do it. Like I don't care. That's never been a problem with me at all. So that's I don't think that's a debate between any one of us. If you're over
Okay.
18 and you want to do it, you could go ahead and do
So
it.
so here's the thing, okay? So let's say that, okay, perfect example. Me. From the time that I turned 16 to the time that I was, I don't know what, 21, 22, Damian, I didn't want kids, right? I thought I would make a horrible mother. I knew I was not mentally stable. I knew, but from 16 back to, I don't know, 10 or 11, I thought I wanted a huge family. So had I gotten my tubes tied then, that would have been on me. That wouldn't have been on the doctor. And like you said, there's the liability thing of like, hey, if you come back in 5 years and you decide you want kids, sucks to suck. Like, we can't put it
Yeah.
back in. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
consequences. Consequences
But
for your actions.
the fact that they make it so difficult for women to get any kind of uterine care, I would even venture to say, is wild to me.
Yeah, the fix is always birth control.
Yeah.
Birth control for everything.
Yep.
Or vitamins. Vitamins.
It's always
B12.
vitamins.
No,
Yeah.
vitamin D. Always vitamin D. That's
D
the
and-
answer for everything.
D and B12.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
But-
so what about ectopic pregnancies? That's technically an abortion.
No,
Okay,
technically
that's
it's
not-
it's a medical procedure to save mom's life.
Okay,
Because-
so
Right, but by definition of what an abortion is, right? This is Webster's definition, the termination of a pregnancy after accompanied by or resulting and closely followed by the death of an embryo or a fetus. So even though the pro-lifers and the doctors use this, it's technically not an abortion because yada yada yada, there is nothing in the definition of abortion that says anything about the mother's life. Now, yes, I know ectopic pregnancies are not viable, right? The mother will eventually die.
yeah,
But it is still technically by definition an abortion.
that is why I said what is the definition of an abortion? Because and we looked it up. The last time
There's
we
so
tried
many
this.
definitions. That's ridiculous.
There's multiple definitions between Webster's has a definition, Google has a definition, other hospitals have a
Oxford
definition. Yeah, there's different definitions of an abortion. And if you go by that definition, yes, an ectopic pregnancy is an abortion. Here's where, if you go by any hospital, if you go to any hospital, they will not call it an abortion. They call it
No,
something else.
they call it a salpingectomy.
Yeah. They call it something completely different, which
It's a medical intervention.
there we go. But to any doctor, no doctor considers it an abortion. So yes, Webster's has the definition of that and other people have definitions. I'll go by what the doctors say. If no gynecologist calls it an abortion, I'm going to have to err on the side of people that have been doing this for years and have 8, 12 years of college and training behind it. But
so let's take this one step further. Okay. Because yeah, we're sitting here talking about like consensual sex and abortion, right? But genuinely, what happens if she gets raped and she does conceive out of this rape? Damian, you think that she should have that baby,
yes,
and I don't think that's fair to her. She's already been through so much trauma, and now you're going to cause
choice in getting pregnant.
right.
You took the choice away from her. If you rape a woman and she gets pregnant, you took the whole choice away from her of deciding if she was ready to be pregnant, if she was even wanting to have a child.
Yep.
So I think they should have the right to choose.
Okay. The reason I don't believe that they should have the right to choose is the basic reason because I believe it's a human life. Just because something bad happened doesn't give you the right to kill the baby.
But I didn't want it.
But it's here.
But we didn't have consensual sex. I didn't have a say in the fact that I got pregnant out of this.
Okay, so because I believe it's a human being, that human being doesn't have a say in anything. Why do you get to choose why do you get to choose to kill the human being? Because something bad happened to you. Now you're going to punish another human.
But now you're going to punish my body for the next 40 weeks because something horrible happened to me. And I get to be reminded every single day about it as my belly gets bigger, as my hormones go off the rails, after I crave shit that I don't even like.
I'm not saying it's a great thing that happens to you. At no point in time, the fact of the matter is a human life it's different DNA than you. It's different
But it's
It's a
not. It shares my DNA.
no, it doesn't. No, it does not. A zygote, the minute it becomes fertilized with the sperm, the minute it becomes a zygote, it's a completely different
No, it's not. Because
DNA.
when you test DNA, it'll say from mom to dad, mom and dad, if you DNA test that baby, it'll say 50% DNA match. So it's not a completely different person. It is part of me.
Scientific from a human organism begins at conception. It has its own DNA distinct from the mother's.
I feel like you just proved my point. Distinct from the mother's. So when
Distinct.
you do,
Do you know what distinct means? It means different
yes,
from the
hold
mother.
on. When you do something like ancestry.com, right? That is your DNA, right? And
Yeah.
through my DNA, you can see who I'm related to. Correct?
Yes.
We agree on this? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Because we share DNA.
Your science is wrong.
No, because that's two science contradicting each other. Okay.
But your science is wrong.
Hold on.
Okay.
No.
If I was
No,
to go,
I just
if I
don't
was
know
to
it.
go, if my mother was to go test her DNA and I was to go test my DNA, they would have some similarities saying, yes, you two are related. And based
Right.
off of the percentage of your matching DNA, we could
You can tell who
highly
your parents
suggest
are,
that
your
you are
grandparents
offspring
are.
from one.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
how do they like this is the whole point of paternity tests.
no. I agree with your logic. Your logic is sound, but there's a reason why I have two contradicting facts. One
Because
fact
science is wrong.
no, one fact is saying that the DNA is distinct from the mother's, and how in the world? So this isn't the fact that science is wrong. This is our knowledge that we just don't know how it works yet. We don't
Okay.
know how. We don't know how DNA.
So I
mean,
just
we're
looked
not
up
scientists.
how much DNA, right, do you share with your parents? It says you share an average of 50% of your DNA with each biological parent. This is because you inherit half of your genetic information from your mother and half from your father. The exact percentage can vary slightly due to random inheritance and other genetic factors.
Can you say mother one more time?
No. No, I cannot.
The Jersey accent comes out.
This is a conversation that Damian likes to have with me because I get mad.
Yeah, I can tell. I can see it.
So I don't know what you just looked up, Damian, but no, it's wrong.
Inaccurate.
100% of my DNA is from my mom and from my dad. Now I'm a person.
250s do make 100. I've heard that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Damian, but right? 250s make 100?
250s make 100. Okay. So in one sentence, it actually backs my argument up, but then backs your argument up. So a zygote has its own DNA. That's like universally everything I've looked at, a zygote has its own DNA, which
doesn't make sense.
raises the question of how does it have its own DNA, but shares with the mother because it receives half of its nuclear DNA from the mother's egg and half from the father's sperm. It also contains the mother's mitochondrial DNA, which is inherently solely through the egg cells. I can't pronounce that word.
So what if zygotes, right? Because what's the definition of a zygote?
It's the beginning stages of a human being, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so what if when it's a zygote, it's actually not a person at all, because apparently zygotes have their own special DNA.
So,
so when does it leave the zygote phase and go into the other phases?
I'd have to look up the whole development of a human phases.
So I think it's not an anything when it's a zygote. It's literally just a
Okay.
clump of cells because apparently its DNA doesn't even match its mother or its father's because it's got its own
Okay,
crazy
so
DNA that just immaculate
no.
happened.
Okay, so this makes sense. So your DNA comes in contact with the father's DNA and makes its own DNA. But since it's a unique DNA, it still has traces of the mother and the father. So it would be like if you took, say, you took a triangle and you took a square and you overlapped them, put them together, you have a new shape, but the triangle and the square is still in there. The two just came together to make a completely new shape. That's how DNA works. DNA has a shape. I'm being very, very layman's on this. So you have a star and then you have a circle. They come together, they make a completely new shape, its own shape, but it has remnants of the old shapes in there from the mother and the father. So it's a completely new shape. It's a completely new DNA because the two shapes came together. But you can see that, okay, this shape made this shape, and the mother was a star and the father was a circle, came
Yep, because
together.
men are basic.
Okay.
Wow, that was an insult that was unnecessary. I thought that was a really
So-
good fucking explanation. That was a really good explanation.
To answer Hannah's question,
I just gotta throw my pow in there.
a zygote is a fertilized egg cell that results from the union of a female gamete, egg or ovum, with a male gamete, sperm. So let's look up, when does a zygote become an embryo? A zygote becomes an embryo when it implants in the uterine lining, which occurs about 6 days after fertilization. Before this, the single-celled zygote undergoes rapid cell division as it travels down the fallopian tube, eventually becoming a hollow ball of cells called a blastocyst. This blastocyst then implants, and it is at this point that it develops into an embryo.
Oh, so it's not anything for like 6 days. Almost a week. That's crazy.
The first week of conception is nonsense.
It's still a human.
It literally just said that it's a clump of cells that it's not going to do anything. It can't become anything. If you caught pregnancy in the first, I don't know, first 6 days and took it out of my body and it wouldn't turn into anything. It needs to implant to become something.
But it would turn into something.
Everything can turn into something if you wait long enough.
No,
Fuck.
it can't. Sperm will
You
be
see people do
sperm
it
all the time.
You see it with cactuses. People do it all the time. They're like cutting chunks out of cactuses and they implant a new cactus and they fucking rubber band it and they wait 6 months and they're like, look, I have a mixed breed of a fucking cactus. It's got DNA from a saguaro cactus and it's got DNA from a fucking elephant ear cactus.
Why the fuck?
And now it's a mix, and now I have a whole new breed of cactus.
Why do you guys use animals and plants to try to justify your argument for humans?
Because plants are cells, but also living things.
But they're not human.
Doesn't matter. They're still cells.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Bro, you need a bath.
God says it's wrong. There we go.
God also gave people the choice if they wanted to be impregnated or not.
Actually, the angel did. God didn't say,
Which God sent. So, I think everybody should have a choice.
I don't think you should have a choice of killing a life. You made that choice. Make that choice before you create a life.
I think what we should do to fix all of this problem is that like men should have to just be permanently like neutralized in their genital areas, and then like the government can come and say you can impregnate someone today.
Okay. This
Win the
hits
lottery.
home. This one fucking hits home because
a man can impregnate a woman 365 days out of the year, but a woman can only get pregnant once a year.
Once a month.
So I think men are the problem. I think
Once
that's
a
what
year?
we're getting at. Men are the problem.
No, they have a chance of getting pregnant once a month.
But they can only get once they are pregnant. They can only get pregnant once a year.
They can only be pregnant once a year. They
So
can
for the 9
get
months
pregnant.
that woman is developing this baby, they can go and get a woman pregnant every single day of those 9 months.
Okay, I heard this argument
No.
with somebody that says that all men should have a vasectomy when they're like 14 or 15, until they're like married and ready to have kids. I'm going to tell, I don't care what fucking Google says. I don't care what anybody says. I have a vasectomy. They are not reversible. They are extremely painful to get them reversed. And it's not a guaranteed thing reversed. Not to mention, depending on the type of vasectomy. Some
also,
vasectomies
the longer you go, the less chance you have of it actually working.
Like mine's over 10 years old. If I had mine reversed right now, the odds of me being able to get somebody pregnant are almost zero. Nothing's
Slim to
ever
none.
zero. Nothing's ever zero.
It's never none.
But that is the dumbest argument I've heard from women that say men, for this is it's not, by the time he's able to have kids, he could never have kids anyways. You'd kill off our fucking species. Second of all, depending on the type of vasectomy, because there's different types of vasectomies, there's a tie, there's a tie and a knot, there's a cut, there's a cauterization.
Yeah.
No, not castrated.
Cauterization, that's what I meant.
Cauterization. Don't say castrated. That's cutting my balls off. That's completely different.
Maybe that's what we should do.
No, because that would affect us differently too. Much like a hysterectomy, if you take out a full hysterectomy, that you girls can go into menopause early. Yeah. And it fucks up your hormones because you don't have that producing your hormones. You take away your testicles and we don't produce testosterone to,
so
a lot of shit can go wrong.
Can we all agree that men should be put on birth control?
They tried it and we fucking chickened out on it.
Yeah, you guys were little bitches.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's all the women. Yeah, it's all the women's responsibility. It's all the women's responsibility. They should have to take the birth control that fucks their hormones and fucks them long term. But men, we get away with everything. I'm telling you right now, if men had periods, they would be fucking glorified. There would be laws made about, when a man's on his period and he's bleeding from his penis, he can take the week off that he's on his period because it's so detrimental to him and his functioning. But women, we just get to fucking tough it out and stick through.
I'm sorry,
and God forbid you call in.
No, okay, so when you guys don't want to have a baby, what's your consequences? Oh, nothing.
What are your guys' consequences when you don't want to have a baby?
Fucking prison? Jail? Fines?
Definitely not prison. That's a stretch there, sir.
No, you can go to jail for not paying child support.
Yeah, for a very fucking short amount of time. It's like 24 hours. Yes.
No, it is not.
Yes, it fucking is.
Who
You know how I know?
Told you about that?
Because my fucking dad has been doing it forever.
Just because somebody gets away with it doesn't mean it's legal. The law does not allow that. The fact that he got out after 24 hours, that's because some judge, some lawyer, some system failed.
Woo-hoo.
The system does not want that. That is not a law. The system
fails entirely.
Hey, I have a Google thing for you, a Google answer.
What?
Jail time for not paying child support can range from a few months to several years, depending on the circumstances. Chill out. Depending on the circumstances and jurisdiction. A parent can face jail for contempt of court if they are found to have willfully ignored a court order to pay. For federal cases, the punishment can be up to 6 months in prison for a first offense or up to 2 years for a second offense, while state-level penalties may vary but can include jail time and fines.
Thank you
You want to know
Fines,
why they're
jail
not
time.
getting thrown? You want to know why they're not getting thrown in jail or anything for extended periods of time? Because our jails are already overrun. And if a dude don't want to fucking pay child support, guess what? Throwing him in jail, he can't pay child support while he's in there anyways. Happened to my dad. My dad didn't pay child support for the longest fucking time. He got thrown in jail multiple fucking times.
Okay.
And he never fucking cared. So the judge was like, I can't keep throwing him in jail because our jails are full of freaking rapists, murderers, and fucking drug dealers. You just have a deadbeat dad. And guess what? There's a lot of fucking deadbeat dads out there. And I'm not going to say there's not deadbeat moms because I'm sure there are. Okay. Moms go through the same thing. If they are supposed to be paying child support and they're not paying child support, they have the same consequences. Same exact consequences.
Okay, the women that have to pay child support now, they don't have the same problem. And first of all, let's be honest. Women paying child support is only in the past 10 years. That's only been a thing because there's a ton of news and videos about women being absolutely shocked that they have to pay child support. That is a new thing. This is not something that's been going on for 50 years. We have had to pay child support. We have had prison time. We've had jail time for not paying child support. That is our consequences. Whether or not
here's
the
a wild
system
thought. Stop incentivizing moms to be single moms.
Oh, that's a whole different podcast. That was the welfare system, fucking everything up, giving women money. I understand the idea behind it was good, but the end result just made it to where women don't want men around because they get paid more if you don't marry us. That's just a fact. Unfortunately, once again, the system failed. I'm not talking about failing systems. I'm saying how it's supposed to work. Women have no consequences. Men do legal consequences. Women don't have any legal consequences. Men do. So,
Okay.
and why is it so hard to make this? Ooh, birth control fucked this all up because women have always throughout history had the keys to sex. They were the gatekeepers. They were always they had all the power. It's been that way through history. The minute birth control came up, women could just okay. The sexual revolution was absolutely the worst thing that ever happened to women.
Okay, but it's here now. It's not going back. So
You're
instead of blaming it, instead
hope
of
you're
and
like the minute you start talking, your first like whole sentence doesn't come through at all.
oh, it's probably peaked. So this whole blaming it on the women, right? It's the women's fault she got pregnant. It's the women's fault for this. It's the women. They have no consequences. Whatever. Uh, for one, if the mother doesn't put them on child support, they don't have to pay child support. If they don't request a paternity test, they don't get put on child support. So there's a possibility, and there's a lot of it out there, that men won't have consequences either.
That one's not true. I could put anybody on a birth certificate. And if the guy just genuinely believes it and doesn't require a paternity test, he has to pay that child support because he's on the birth certificate.
Well,
He
that's
has
his own dumbass fucking fault. And he should have got
No,
one.
no,
I'm
no.
telling you right now.
No,
I'm
DNA
telling
is
you right
not
now.
mandatory. I
I'm
totally
telling
believe
you.
in mandatory
I'm
DNA
telling
testing.
you right now. If I was a dude and I fucked a girl yesterday and she came to me 2 weeks from now and said, "Hey, I'm pregnant and it's yours," I'd be like, "When you can get a paternity test, let me know, because I'll get one. Because I'm not paying fucking money for something that ain't mine." That's ignorance on the fucking dude side, and that's his own fucking fault. He gets
I'm
what he
not saying
deserves
that
if he
it's
wants
I'm
to be
not saying that
stupid
it's
enough
not
to
his
not
fault.
get a paternity test.
He can't force her to get a paternity test.
False.
Definitely
No,
not true.
a judge can force her, but he cannot look at her and say, "You will get a paternity test." He has to get a judge's order.
Well, if you don't have the money, so this is my thing. Like, if you're not in a position to take her to court, and don't tell me that court's expensive because there's family court, and that's like a thing that yes,
A,
it
a
costs money, but
lawyer
it's
is
not.
expensive. Court is
A
not.
lawyer is, yes, but you don't necessarily need a lawyer to go to family court and be like, "Listen, judge, like I've known this woman for like 2 seconds. We've been dating for a week, and now all of a sudden she's pregnant. Before I pay child support, I would like a paternity test." 9 times out of 10, unless that judge is out of her mind, most judges are going to be like, yeah, okay, cool. So here's your court order. Go get a paternity test.
I don't know. I've heard of situations where dads have gone to child support enforcement and been like, if I'm expected to pay child support, I want a paternity test. I want to know for sure that they're mine. And they're like, okay, but if you do know that if it turns out that this child is yours, you will be mandated to file child support. And they're like, yeah, sure, sounds great. And guess what? They give that paternity test, comes back positive. Now you're on child support.
Okay, that might
Right,
be
but that's
state to state. I don't know if that's true all 50 states.
I don't know. But
what's wrong with holding, hold on, Yana. What's wrong with holding that guy accountable? If he doesn't want that kid and he doesn't want to be involved in that kid's life, what's wrong with holding him accountable and making him pay child support?
Nothing. I don't
Do
think
you think
anything's wrong
that
with that.
do you think that a father that doesn't pay child support or gets a lower paying job so that he doesn't have to pay child support, do you think there should be a consequence there? That's a
Say that
question to
again.
both of you.
Okay,
So,
say that again.
so you have like, because we've seen it on the TikTok page, right, where that judge is like, we love her, right?
Oh, yes. The black
But,
judge.
mm-hmm. But we've seen it a couple of times on that TikTok page where the father of that child quits working, right? Or gets a lower paying job, so he has to pay lower child support, right? He goes from making, anywhere from 80,000 to 100,000 a year, and now all of a
Are you
sudden he's only making 25 to 30,000 a year.
there's a man and a woman episode about a woman did that too. Because she had to pay child support, so she had like a master's degree
Right, and so
and
she
she
took a
quit her
lower paying
job.
job. Yes. So should there be a consequence there as well?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I just don't know how you would do it because you
What do you
can't
mean?
because you cannot force somebody to work a job. That's that's slavery. You
Okay, but
can't look at somebody and say you
completely agree with that.
will you will
Completely agree with
be
that.
say her master's degree was in biological research. A judge can't look at her and go, "You will get a job in biological research making 80,000, 100,000 a year, whatever." Instead of and I think what it was she was a scientist and she quit and she became like a waitress. Like she dropped huge in pay.
Okay,
If I remember the episode correctly.
but
You can't look at her and go, "You will not be a waitress, you're going to be a biological researcher."
but
You can't do that.
with that being said, there's a timeline, right? If you and I go to court and I have a PhD in chemical warfare, right? And I'm making 120,000 a year, and then you look at me and say, "Hey, I'm only making 25,000 a year. I need help." Well, the judge says, "Okay, you're mandatory to pay child support." Me, I'm
Yeah,
mandated to pay child support. The next week I quit my job and take a $25,000 or
pay cut.
25,000 a year pay cut, 25,000 a year period job. I now quit my job. Like, that doesn't look fishy to you?
Oh, no, it's definitely fishy. What's the consequences, though? Okay,
Right, that's what
so,
I'm asking
like
you.
Hannah's excuse, if we send you to jail, well, now you're not making any money. You're not even making 25,000. Now you're not making fucking anything. So
Right, but
what's the consequences?
that child support still accrues. You still have back pay that you have to pay.
Okay, and people have been in the rears for decades. I don't know how to fix the system. All I know is the system says X. Where what's going wrong with the system? Like your father, 1 day in jail. Okay, that's not what the system says it should be. The system says he should go to jail, 6 months first offense. He should be on his like 20 years in prison right now. But it's not because the system just let it fall through the cracks. I
Do you
don't know
think that
how to.
our
Yeah, the judge 100% did. She flat out told my mother that like she's never seen a guy, a father that was just so against paying any child support. His child support eventually got to the point where it was $50 a month and he still couldn't pay it. And they were forking out so much money by doing the warrants and having him arrested and throwing him in jail that she was like, it's extremely counterproductive. Like the state is forking out money that they're never going to get back because he's never going to pay his court fees. He's never going to pay child support. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. Like throwing him in jail is not motivating him to pay child support. So
See,
it's a waste of taxpayers' money to keep throwing him in jail and continue to throw him in jail when there's murderers, rapists, and fucking drug dealers out on the loose.
okay, this is my opinion. I think he should go to prison for 80 years. I think they should have
Probably,
locked.
I'd agree with you.
I think they should have just locked. Okay, you're not going to pay. You've racked up so much. We're not going to keep spending the money. So here, now your freedom completely gone. Your
Do you
freedom's
think-
Yeah,
gone.
I'd agree. I'd
do
agree
you
with you.
think that at that point though, do you think that the mom should be able to apply for WIC and not unemployment, like food stamps until the kids turn 18 and now it's the state's problem?
Oh yeah, I totally believe in the social safety nets. I mean, there's so many fraud and abuses with the social safety nets, but I do believe they're a good thing. We do need to have them for the cases like this. And I don't want to like throw you out on the spot, but for your case, it should be yes. Single mom, deadbeat dad, your mom needs help. End of discussion. You should have all the safety nets in the world. The dad, he should never, after about the fifth or sixth time going to jail, like just regular jail, he shouldn't have. No, do not collect $200.
Do not
Go
pass
straight
go,
to.
do not collect,
Do not pass go.
$200.
You're going to prison for 20 years. I'd say at least 20 years. Your freedom is gone until X time. And if they told him that, maybe then he would have paid. You know,
You're not. That dude have
okay.
been like, cool,
Oh, I then send him to prison.
here you go.
Oh, then
Take me
send
away.
him. Okay, then people like that don't need to be in normal society.
Look, I'm telling you, my dad's a piece of work. Okay, he's a piece of work. And there's dudes like that out there. There's dudes out there that have zero desire.
But
I mean, I have personal, not only my story, but I have personal experiences with it. You know,
There's
like
women out there like that too.
Yeah, there's tons. I would say there's just as many women out there like that than men. They just do it differently. The way they do it is they use the kids as leverage. Like in my situation, where somebody said, well, you can't see your kid unless you give me money to make the trip. Well, if I want to see my son, I have to pay. Like I have no choice. Yep. Because now if I look at her and go, I'm not paying, she could just be like, well, then I'm not making the drive halfway to drop off your son. So I have to drive all the way up there and all the way back. So whether or not I pay to drive all the way up there, all the way back, or give her the money to drive halfway down, I'm still paying. So I just shut up and colored and I paid because I wanted to see my son. Because if I would have put my foot down and said no and not saw my son, then I would have been the deadbeat dad. Oh, you don't want to see your son? Well, no, it's a principle thing.
Situation.
What?
That's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. But I don't know. I understand.
But I also think that people like, okay, so one of my arguments has always been there's, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of abortions a year, right? But those are all of those babies, potential babies, that don't end up in the system, don't end up abused, don't end up in the foster care or end up aging out of the foster care system. Our foster care system is so broken that I think if it wasn't as broken as it is, I think it would cause for less. And maybe not, maybe maybe that's just wishful thinking on my end, but I think that if the adoption slash foster care system wasn't so broken and wasn't so fucking difficult, I think less people would be willing to do abortion and they'd be more willing to do, okay, well, obviously, there's somebody who wants my baby out there. You also have these people I'm perfect example. I have an aunt who has 5 kids, and none of those kids have any business having babies. They're all mentally unstable. None of them are in a good situation, and 2 out of the 5, 3 out of the 5 have kids already.
Do they?
Yeah, and they have
I don't.
none of them have business having kids. The youngest is 21, something like that, and she already has a baby, and this baby came out and has a club foot and, you know, was born prematurely and born underweight and everything because she was not in a situation to fully be able to take care of herself, and she still had this kid. Now, that might change later down the road. She might be a better mother than her mother ever was. But you have women like their mother that was a revolving door for men. I mean, she slept with most of the state in the state next door, and now she has to go to other states to sleep with men. She's got like 3 men that she's house hopping between. Like, it's ridiculous. But
Okay. I have a question about that. You gave the example of the woman that I can't stand that is just, she gets pregnant and who cares? And now we just have a whole bunch of kids in the world that, you know, at what point in time, because I know the statistics on this, 45 to 50% of women have more than one abortion, which means they're using abortion as birth control.
okay,
So do you believe that after, say, 2 abortions, mandatory birth control?
yeah,
A woman should be forced to be put on birth control.
yes,
You're thinking really hard, Hannah. If a woman is using abortion as birth control,
Where's your proof that she's using it as birth control?
um,
that's the thing though, is I think that there should be, I know that they say it's like anonymous or whatever, but I think that there should be a record. I think that there should be absolutely a record of these women using using abortions as a birth control.
So a
I think
30-year-old woman has 2 abortions. She's automatically using it for birth control because
no, no,
she's had 2.
no, no. I would say 3.
So there's
You know what?
okay, hold
2
on though.
abortions actually should is
So there's a lot of factors, my opinion, there's a lot of factors that go into it, okay? So one of the shows that I'm watching, right? She was in a wicked abusive relationship. And I'm not saying that this is like 110% like what happens, but just as a situational thing. Wicked abusive situation. Um she had no business having kids in that situation, and she made damn sure that that didn't happen. Great, that's fantastic. But there's medical records to back up the fact that she was in an abusive situation, right? Most of the time, abused women end up in the hospital for falling downstairs or running into the cabinets or whatever, right? So that's where I think that I don't think that it should be an anonymous thing. I think that, but we also need to take the taboo out of abortions, because if she's genuinely getting beat on and it's not a safe situation for her or a child, and Hannah, I know that this might, I don't want to out you, so apologies. Um, but there's certain situations that I feel like if she wants that abortion, I feel like she should be able to, because it's not a safe situation for her, let alone to bring a brand new baby in. So, okay, let's say that she's 30 years old, has 2 within 2 months or whatever. Okay, there's going to be medical records to back up the fact that she's getting abused. Most abused women, I saw it all the time with one of my not friends anymore. She'd show up with bruises, and she had no business having a baby in that situation.
Okay. I love how the pro-choice people always do this. They take the most horrible, god-awful situation and use that as an example. The situation you're saying, incest, rape, and we'll even go by the health of the mother, is literally less than 1% of abortions.
I'm not saying that it's a common thing.
No, I'm
Don't
just saying
put
it
words
is
in my
so.
mouth.
No, I'm not saying it's a common thing, but we already talked about, health of the mother. We mentioned incest. We always, when we talk about the abortion argument, everybody uses these super rare situations. If you are a woman that goes out and you have 2 abortions in say 5 years, are you fucking kidding? You know what causes a baby. Don't give me the birth control broke, because I'm sorry. The only reason birth control says they're 98% effective is because the 2% are for the stupid fuckers that aren't using it right.
False.
2% are for the stupid fuckers that aren't using it right.
No, Damian, because what they don't tell women a lot of times is that if you take antibiotics, there's certain antibiotics that are going to completely stop and negate all birth control. So if you don't want to get pregnant, you don't use that. You don't have sex in those 2 weeks that you're on those antibiotics. No, because they don't tell women a lot of shit. Antibiotics can do it. If you have a spike in hormones for whatever reason, let's say that your thyroid's fucked up or whatever, the birth control is going to do something different. There's so many health factors to birth control not working. So no, it's not the 2% of fucking stupid people. It's
Whenever
doctors neglecting to fully inform women. No, 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 no.
How do you not know, though? And I'm not saying the doctors aren't failing.
Because most women
they need to get better.
Because most women start birth control when they turn 18, 19, 20. We're young, we're
Younger.
stupid, just
Even
like
younger.
you stupid. Yeah, even younger. And a doctor's not going to look at a 16-year-old girl and go, hey, that antibiotic for your yeast infection is going to completely negate your birth control. They're not going to look at that.
Oh, hey, that penicillin shot you got that because you had a horrible infection completely negated your birth control.
Oh,
because
and
your
hey, by the
13-year-old
way,
kid, your 13-year-old kid that comes in with irregular periods and the quick fix is always birth control, their doctor's not going to explain to them and say, hey, by the way, I know you're only using birth control for irregular periods, but just on the off chance that you decide that you're going to start having sex, antibiotics, penicillins, or this, or that, or this, and this, and this, and that are going to counteract your birth control effects. So it's best to just not take the birth control if you have A, B, C, and D. They don't
by
do
the
that.
way, flu medication, if you're on flu medication for like a week because you feel like garbage for a week, NyQuil, Dayquil, and you combine that with Mucinex, your birth control is negated completely. So no, it's not for the 2% of stupid people.
Well, should you be having sex on any of these cases? If you're taking penicillin, if you're taking NyQuil, you're sick as shit. If you're taking penicillin, you're infected. If you're on antibiotics, something bad happened to you. You shouldn't be fucking during those times anyways.
And how many times have you told me while you're on Dayquil or NyQuil or whatever and you have the flu and you still want to have sex?
We're married. There's a difference. I'm talking about
No, there
people
ain't.
that
matter. Doesn't matter.
Yes, I
What
can. I can afford a baby. I can take care of a baby.
No, Damian, what if you've been dating for 3 years? Men think with their penis. They do not think long term.
Why are you blaming this all on men? You women have to say yes for us to have sex. At no point in time has any woman walked up and men do not hold the keys to sex. Women do. They always have. Men, unless we're talking normal, don't bring in rape or some shit like that.
If we've been dating for 3 years and I look at you and go, are you sure you're okay for sex? And you're like, yeah, I'm totally good, babe. And you have no symptoms, but you're still running a fucking fever and I'm a good woman.
But my sickness doesn't affect your birth control. I'm talking about your birth control.
Thought process.
No, because you guys are the ones that get pregnant.
So does that negate you from being responsible enough while you're on these medications to use a condom? No.
You said I can't use a condom.
Well, you can't, but that's besides the
Right.
point. I'm talking 99%
I know
of
what you're
people.
talking about. How about just, yeah, okay, while I'm on this medication, just don't have sex.
I don't know.
Bro.
Look, man, I was having sex like 2 days after having a laparoscopic surgery done. So
You do not count.
I'm just saying, it's normal. It's normal. But you can't sit here and say that people are not going to have sex when they're sick.
Why not? Everybody keeps on using this excuse as, oh, you can't tell somebody not to have sex. Yes, you can. There's a consequences. I tell people not to point a gun at their head. You know why? Because there's fucking consequences. There's consequences to having sex. You cannot just have sex with zero consequences.
But take it back to like teenagers. You go tell your teenager children don't have sex. You will get pregnant, and that's a big fucking consequence. You might die. Okay? You go tell your teenager children this. Don't have sex. Don't have sex. Just wait. Just wait till you're responsible enough. What's the first motherfucking thing they're gonna do when you're out of town for a weekend? They're gonna go fucking have sex. Don't drink alcohol. It's illegal and you can't do it till you're 21. Not only that, but there's a lot of side effects to alcohol. Don't drink alcohol. What's your 17-year-old gonna do when they go to a party? Go drink alcohol.
See, and I don't get that one
Don't
because
do drugs. Drugs are bad. Okay, so you're like the 1%. You can ask, I bet you could ask 100 adults, did you drink alcohol? Even though you knew you weren't supposed to when you were a teenager? And probably about 99% of them are going to say, oh yeah, I drink alcohol. Even though I knew I wasn't supposed to. It's the same thing with sex. We are perfect three. We are 3 for 3. We all had sex as teenagers, didn't we?
Yep.
We're 3 for 3.
Well, us two had real sex.
Yeah. My wife had sex as a teenager. Now we're 4 for 4. My mother had sex as a teenager. We're 5 for 5 now. My father had sex as a teenager. We're 7 for 7. The list goes on and on.
I understand that, but there's still consequences.
Yes, I agree that there's still consequences, but because this 15, 16-year-old doesn't know that because she's on an antibiotic or because she took an antibiotic because her throat was fucked up and she had strep, and now she's on day 6, right? Which antibiotics are usually what, 10 days? Okay. She's on day 6 and she's like, oh my God, I feel great. I feel amazing. Because that's usually how it fucking goes. By day 5 or 6, you feel phenomenal. You feel better than before. You're still taking antibiotics, and because your doctor, because you were a teenager, didn't explain to you that your birth control is now zip, not working. She goes out, she has sex, knowing damn right that there's consequences, but I'm on birth control, honey, so it's not a big deal. Or we'll do the pull-out game, which never fucking works. And then she ends up pregnant, and she's like, holy fuck, I did all the things I was supposed to do. I was taking birth control. You pulled out. Maybe they didn't wear condoms, because what if it's the same scenario with Sonia where she's allergic to them? Or what's the 90% excuses that guys use? Oh, they don't fit. It doesn't feel as good for me. You're still getting off, motherfucker. You're still getting off, which still feels pretty fucking great. Yeah. Whatever the excuse is, so they have sex, she winds up pregnant, and she's like, what the fuck, why am I pregnant? I'm on birth control. It's still gonna fucking happen. Telling everybody to be telling people, no, it's not.
It is
no,
rare.
It's not. I just had a fucking 13-year-old in the hospital a couple months ago. She's 26 weeks pregnant.
Okay, whoa, yeah, that's a whole different subject. That's parents
Doesn't
failing.
matter.
That's parents failing.
Did your parents fail you?
No.
Yes, they did, because you had sex as a teenager. Your fucking parents failed you.
Okay, then yeah,
My parents failed me because I had sex as a teenager. Sonia's parents failed her because she had sex as a teenager. Every fucking parent is failing because every teenager is having sex.
You need to turn your gain way down because it does not like your heated.
Okay, every teenager is having sex, whether we like it or not. So guess what? Mistakes are bound to happen. There's no way to get rid of these mistakes. There's no way to get rid of any of it. It's going to continue to happen for fucking ever.
More when it comes to birth control. When I talk about birth control, I'm talking about the pill, by the way. So most of the time, it's the women forgetting their pills. or not taking their pill on time or what?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, that any woman that I have asked that I've gotten pregnant that said, "Oh, I was on birth control." When I dig down and when I start really asking her, we come to find out, well, I did miss a couple days. That's user error, just like
Okay,
condoms.
but
When people say the condom broke, most people have no idea how to use a condom.
but
You are not allowed to finish inside with a condom. That's not how
but
condoms are designed.
Doesn't matter. People are still going to do it. Doesn't
There
matter if you
is.
go into
Oh, it's
if you
the
go into sex.
2% that are idiots.
Doesn't matter if you go into sex ed right now and you teach every little boy that with a condom you're not supposed to finish inside a woman. I can guarantee you the quickest thought to their brain is, I'm not going to use a condom then because I want to come inside. I'm not going to use a condom. So condoms will just be fucking negated. They'll go out of business because everybody wants to finish inside.
That's why they actually put spermicide in most of the condoms, because none of the guys were using condoms right.
Bro, I have met so many men, okay, from the military, so 18 to fucking 20, whatever, okay, my whole 10 years in, I have met so many fucking dudes and women that don't know what the fuck spermicide is. Had no idea. And this is ranging from people right out of high school who just joined all the way to people who are in their 30s and 40s. And I'll be like, did you guys use spermicide condoms? And they're like, what the fuck is a spermicide condom? And I'm like, wow, how is it that the lesbian knows about spermicide condoms, but y'all fucking don't?
So for anybody that is getting heated with us on this podcast, we did a whole thing, a whole other podcast on sex ed for kids, and we think it's complete rubbish in America. It is so failing our kids. I will way concede that you want to cut teenage pregnancies, I would say in half, more than in half. Get better sex ed, because
well, there's multiple reasons for that though. Americans are prude when it comes to sex. Period. End of discussion. Nobody wants to have that conversation with their kids. Nobody.
Okay. Yes, that's true. So back to how many abortions should a woman have before you say, I look to the left because you're on the left?
I think it depends on the situation. I think if she's having two in the course of 2 months, like I feel like it's at that point like a full ass doctor needs to be brought in and be like, dude, what's happening here?
I like to fuck.
Okay, great. Here's birth control. Because Planned Parenthood gives birth control, maybe not for free.
Everybody gives everybody gives birth control. Why we have to have Planned Parenthood, I don't know. Any free clinic does exactly what Planned Parenthood does.
I'll tell you right now, if that free clinic knows you're on private insurance, they're not giving you birth control.
Birth control is not that fucking expensive. People bitch about that all the time. I've bought birth control.
Okay.
Condoms are $7
fantastic. Okay, condoms are $7. That's fantastic. But what about like in your and I situation where I was on birth control and we couldn't afford $7 a month because $7 just wasn't, it was $7 towards food or $7 towards birth control.
We were never that broke.
Excuse
we
me?
weren't. We
Yes,
were
we
never
were.
that broke.
When we were in New Jersey and we were not thriving at all. Yes, we were. We could not afford $7 because it was $7 in the gas tank or $7 for birth control. So
you know
yes,
what?
we were.
It didn't matter because I have a vasectomy.
That's not the point. You know what I'm talking about.
The birth control for you was for something completely different.
It
was not to keep you from getting pregnant.
It's the same concept.
If you cannot
see, if we look at pregnancy rates, what demographic, and I don't mean race or ethnicity or any of that, okay, what demographics are mostly getting pregnant?
I would say 20 to 25.
No, not even age.
What do you mean demographic?
Poverty.
If you took race and
poverty. Most of your pregnancies come from people who are in poverty.
Yeah, because they have nothing to do.
Because they can't fucking afford shit. So yeah, if I'm below the poverty line and my husband and I are making money, And my small fucking redneck hick town doesn't have a free clinic or a fucking Planned Parenthood. What are my options? Because what if it is $7? That $7 either puts food on the table tonight or that $7 goes towards some condoms.
Yep.
And don't even get me started with the conversation of, well, then you shouldn't be having sex then, because that's not going to fucking happen. That's never going to happen. That's not a fucking option. So
say that.
Just like pro-choice people like to bring up the what you would call rare occasions of women who are getting beat. That's not a rare fucking occasion by any means. Okay. It is way more fucking common than anybody fucking thinks. So if we can't bring up the rare occasions, pro-lifers can't bring up the, well, you just shouldn't have sex then. Be smart. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot because nobody's doing that. Nobody's fucking doing that. Everybody is going to have fucking sex because guess what? It's the one fucking free thing that we get that actually brings us joy.
Well, apparently
and
it's not free.
Gives us the good dopamine that we need, especially if you're in the poverty level and your life is very much sad, depressing, and fucking exhausting. It's going to bring those good hormones that you need to stay fucking afloat.
Okay, give them the one thing that they need, the happy, good feeling they're allowed to have sex. If they're too broke to afford condoms, they're not going to be able to afford an abortion. Like, even if we make abortion legal, how are they going to afford abortion? How are they going to afford a child if they decide to keep it?
Like, it's called great because you're on state insurance. Taxpayers will pay for it.
So what you're saying is I have to pay for something I morally disagree with, an abortion.
I'm morally against federal taxes, but guess what? I still have to pay them. Same concept applies. Same concept applies. Same concept applies.
You are morally against federal taxes?
Yeah, I think it's stupid that I should have to pay federal taxes.
So you don't believe in paying our military and fire department and
fire department comes from state.
Okay, so our military, FBI, air traffic controllers, you don't believe in paying any of them?
You look at our tax deficit right now. I think the government needs to manage their billions of dollars that they get from every American better.
Dude, that is a podcast all on its own.
Oh, yeah, it is.
With that being said, I think the wrap up here is that Sonia is. I feel like I'm pretty like smack dab in the middle. Like, if it can't live outside my body, and I don't want it, give it, flush it, right? Flush it. But if you can put it in a little oven and cook it, and Daddy Dearest wants it, have at it. But you're paying me for hardships because being pregnant ain't easy.
Well, right? You're not pregnant if I could put it in an oven.
You know what I mean, smartass.
What?
Anyway, Damian is pro-life completely all around.
100%.
And Hannah is pro-choice up to 20 weeks, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Oh my God.
Subscribe.
See? Yes. And see, we all got heated. We all had an argument.
But we all still love each other.
And I'm still married to her, and Hannah's still my friend. Holy shit, what a fucking concept.
You better put a best in front of that friend, sir.
Wow. That's demanding.
She is your best friend.
Yeah, she is my best friend. All right. Like, subscribe, and we have
TikTok, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube fulls. Please like, subscribe, comment. The more comments that y'all do, the more we can keep this going. I mean, we're going to do it regardless because we have fun, obviously, with all of our shenanigans. So we're going to keep going regardless. But yes, like, subscribe, comment, share, repost. Please do all of the things.
She said the word. What's that? What's the restaurant you don't like?
Shenanigans!
That's a restaurant?
Oh,
no, what movie is it? Have you not seen Super Troopers?
Oh, yeah, it's been a while. I probably haven't watched Super Troopers since I was like a teenager.
You need to watch it.
Yeah, that's mandatory watching like once a
Because
year.
the captain
Okay.
literally says, I'm gonna pistol whip the next person that says shenanigans. And they, Farva, what's that restaurant you go to with all the things on the wall? Shenanigans. And all of the guys hands the captain their pistols. It's fantastic. Do it.
Farva's the
Watch
fat
it.
guy, isn't it?
Farva's the fat guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So
Take it
on that
easy.
note,
Don't go far.
have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye.